Hello, Cedric and Cedric here, CR Wrestling Commentary, and today we'll be giving our thoughts on wrestling event durations. This is started because we're listening to Jim Cornette and Brian Last, and they got to, it's early on in it, but they're doing their review on AEW Rampage for October 29th, 2021, and they got into how what AEW does is they've done it 2 or 3 times on their past shows, so that's how I can sum it up. But AEW, they will record all of their events in one night in one arena. So you've got Dark Elevation, Dark, 2 hours of Dynamite, and then you've got 1 hour of Rampage. And sometimes it's more than an hour because of the delays between matches or hiccups that they take out of TV when they finally air it after all the editing. And so he's explaining why people are so drained on Rampage, because they've already gone through roughly 4 hours of wrestling. And there's just, I'll be honest with you, if I was like, hey, AEW is here, man, that's a shitty thing, but it's wrestling and I want to get out the house. Okay, let's go. We'll bite. So you go, and tickets probably aren't cheap. But then you go, and it's let's say 8 o'clock bell time. That's what it used to say back in the day. Meaning our event begins then. Maybe 3 to 5 minutes later, but definitely then, but not earlier. That's just standard. Okay. So you got from 8 o'clock to about 10, you've got both darks. From 10 to 12, you've got Dynamite. And then from 12 to 1, you have Rampage. Unless they want to start at 7, and then you can back all that up a little. Or they start at 6 or 6:30. You can back it up to then. Either way, it's 5 hours of wrestling and probably stuff you're not really interested in. So that's where this starts from. And Cedra had her questions. So I'm going to go ahead and let it go. Because I haven't forgot, Zemo times 2 had asked a question. And that's going to take me a little bit to form that. So look, I try to keep my promises. So I'm going to get it done. I just got to compile my list, because most of what he wants is in AEW or before AEW was even a thing. So I'm going to get there, all right? Zimmo, I'm with you, man. Just give me a little time. Just give me a little time. All right, so CJ, you can go ahead and do your thing. You ask your questions, or we can, because it was a discussion we were starting to have, and I said, we could just talk about this. And she's like, yeah. So there you go.
So Jim Cornette was reading someone's email who had gone to an AEW event, and he was talking about once Dynamite ended, it was 30 minutes before Rampage even started, and started as in, so Tony Khan came out to keep the crowd hype, and then about 15 minutes after that, they introduced all the commentators with their music, and then after that, 20 minutes after that, they have the first match. Okay, the first match, and then it's like 20 minutes before the next match, and I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. If before the crowd get there, you know what the card is going to be. It seems to me that everyone is obligated to be ready when they need to be ready. So why all this delay time when you have to get the most out of your crowd and probably your building in a small amount of time? You need to be like class. Bell rings, you go to class. Bell rings, you get out, go to the next class. 5 minutes, that's it. So I was asking Cedric, if he remember back in the day when he went to wrestling shows, was there a lot of time between one match to the next? Because I haven't been to very many, but the ones that I've been to with Cedric in the past, we weren't doing a whole lot of sitting and waiting for stuff to get started from match to match.
Since we don't live near these places anymore, I can give locations. When I was a kid, National Wrestling Alliance, or WCW, would come to Raleigh-Dorton Arena after a Clash of Champions. And it seemed like it was almost every Clash of Champions they would come. So damn near, a few times a year, I'm going to Raleigh with my cousin. And when they say, look, on the ticket, 7:30 bell time. Now, they don't tell you when the event is over. But this is 7:30 bell time. All right. You know what that meant? Be in your seat by 7:30. And if you're not, well, nothing. You're just late. No one's gonna take your seat. But 7:30, you know, you would see we would see Gary Michael Capetta get into the ring. In the middle of the ring, and he bounced up and down, showing the flexibility of the ring. You see the aprons poofing out when the air rush. And then he'd be looking around, and he'd have this look of, is this it? Because there weren't many people there most times. Dorton Arena could hold so many people, but how can I say this? There were so few that if someone took a seat, no one cared. And that's the truth. There's been a few times where it was almost a packed crowd, and one time it was a massively packed crowd. And that's when the Steiners came there. When it was Steiner, Sting, and Flair, yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see that being a packed crowd.
That, yes.
Hanging from the rafters.
There were no rafters. But it says 7:30. He's in the ring. He's looking around, and about 7:31, 7:32, the lights dim. It's all on him, and everybody immediately shuts up and sits down like, teacher, what do you want? No one, look, Capetta never made a sound. There was no stomping of the ring. There was no, okay, everybody, we're going to begin the event. No, none of that crap they got today. It was the lights dimmed, and everyone's like, oh, there it is. It's time. Immediate.
Like a movie theater.
Yes. So, welcome to World Championship Wrestling. I'm your ring announcer, Gary Michael Capetta, and we're going to start off the event today. Are you ready? Dorton Arena. Let's hear it, Raleigh. And even though if that place could seat 8,000, it would sound like 12,000. Oh my god, because if you were a songstress, you could sing out from anywhere in that building and be heard as if you were anywhere in that building.
That's a fair construction, architecture.
Yes. And he would get started and he'd say, well, as soon as he does that and the crowd, yeah, and all this, and we love you, Gary, and stuff like that, and you see blush, and then all of a sudden he's like, all right, we're going to get to your first match. He pulled out the cue card from his jacket and he started introducing, and that would be roughly around 3 to 6 minutes after it dimmed. We went to Dean E. Smith Center for WCW Nitro. It was 7:30 bell time, but the show didn't get started until 8, so we saw the dark matches. Mm-hmm. Because once we got home, I want to see the event. So, 7:30, the lights would dim a little bit, and you hear the ring announcer that's not in the ring but sitting somewhere, making their way to the ring, and then some people come out, they wrestle, they put on about 15 minutes, and then it's done. You wait a little bit. And let's hear UNC. Are you ready for wrestling? And it was like, yay! They pump the crowd up and stuff, and you're all hyped and you're screaming and you're like, yeah, let's hear it. And then you see him dip out the ring, and then you hear the music clash all around. The pyro go off. The lights get a little brighter. They focus on the intro. And then after all that's done, then you see dude kind of get back into the ring, and you can see the cameras focusing on them and stuff. And it was a production. You didn't wait 5 and 10 minutes between matches. It was clock, 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 clock. That's it. You know you're there. You know why you're there. You better be ready in your spot. Yada, yada, yada. When things would happen backstage, they would show it on the screen that they would have. It wasn't little, but it wasn't massive either. And you're looking at it and you see the stuff happening, but nobody was really interested. So when we watch it at home and you can hear that uproar of the crowd, I'm like, that ain't what the crowd did. But that's what I would think. That ain't what the crowd did. And then just move on. I just moved on, just watch. I was hoping that they would show us. I've been to a few WCW pay-per-views. Same thing. They start promptly. Now,
New Japan started promptly.
New Japan, I'm going to tell you straight up, you could put a Swiss watch to everything they did.
There was very little time between matches.
It was, we lost. The music is playing. The person got to get out the ring. They're getting to the back. The crowd is chanting that person's name. Then they wait until the crowd lulls. And once the crowd lulls, music. Crowd got to hear exactly what it is. Yay! That's how that was. It was on point like that every time. Wait till the crowd shut up. And when Marty Scurll came out, everyone lost their mind. But it was the same thing. Crowd lulled. Marty comes out. No music. People lose their mind. Music hit. And then he gets into the ring and he's all pumped up and stuff.
And surprised that folks in this town know who he is.
Yeah, he was stunned. Like, so all of you know me, eh? Yeah. And he talked about going to the NWA and starting beef with somebody in New Japan. New Japan. Yeah, somebody beef with somebody in New Japan and starting beef with Nick Aldis and all this. He was talking about that. That was like, 2 months before you saw anything out of him in Aldis. And that's them not even from New Japan, but from Ring of Honor, which is weird. It was weird how all that went down.
And then it all went away because the pandemic hit.
Yep.
That March. It was like a month or two before.
Anybody that went to that New Japan event down there, what was it called? The Wedding Arts?
The Armory.
Just the Armory? Wasn't there an arts center?
There is one, but it wasn't there.
Okay.
We were near it, but we weren't there.
It was a drive. It was a fucking drive. But still, clockwork. It was clockwork. But AEW, they mimic somebody because they want to be just like them. WWE. They want to be just like them to the point of failing like them. Because people in WWE events, you notice that they don't. When you have enough events back to back, you stop. And WWE, one event was almost like an AEW event. My cousin, I'm going to call this out, not his last name, but my cousin Brandon wanted to brag to me about, I'm going to Raw. We're going to have front row tickets. Okay. And he kept saying it to me. And I remember saying, you want me to be jealous? He just gave me this smirk like, yeah. And I looked at him and I said, Brandon, I don't like this. If they didn't have wrestling, I wouldn't watch it. And they barely have it, which is why I watch Nitro. I said, I want you to know something. When you go there, you're going to get the Raw experience. You're going to sit there, and there's probably going to be a handful of wrestling matches at best, and you ain't going to get anything out of it. To the point, you're going to be so embarrassed when you come back, you ain't going to say anything to me because you got nothing. And I said, and if you want to brag that you touched a wrestler, remember, you're going to come back saying that you brag that you touched another man. Took the piss right out of him. And then you can see him fire back up. You can see it in his shoulders. You can see it in his eyes. Like, I got something on you. I got something. He's like, yeah, but you know what? I'd have been at Raw. I'll eventually be on camera. And you know what? You won't even be there. I said, I have met Ric Flair. I have met Sister Sherry. I have met Sting, Booker T, Stevie Ray, Rick and Scott Steiner. I have met Steve Austin while he was still stunning. I don't care about seeing Shawn Michaels. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, man, he is trying to hold on. I said, Brandon, because you're my cousin, I'm going to watch Raw for you. And I could almost see on his face that, oh, man. So, we watched Raw. Not once was he on camera. And when they show the wrestlers, you know, they get near the barricade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not one hand reached out for him. Not one. That means they was told not to from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 45 minutes of talking before the first match. And that match lapsed. The intro was damn near 4 minutes. So as the top of the hour came for the War Zone, what did that mean? It was a wrestling match going on when you going by the clicker. If WCW's got some crappy talking going in the ring, and most likely they would, then you go to WWF at the time, that was their name, and you're like, oh, this is wrestling. They at least got some wrestling. Let's watch this. After that match, it was talking, commercials, backstage talking, not even backstage jumpings, backstage talking, in the ring talking to somebody that was backstage. And then they closed almost with a match, a 3 to 5 minute match. And then suddenly it was talking and talking. Someone comes to the ring. It was some DX mess. They come to the ring and there's more talking. And then the show ends with a standoff with people staring in each other's faces, men looking at each other.
So we pay to see men staring.
And he was so happy with his $55 ticket of front row that he never got to be shown on. And I calculated a maximum of 25 minutes of wrestling, intros included, just to be generous, on a 2-hour show.
That's pitiful.
So, quality is important. And when it comes to your event durations, you're going to run your stuff. Make sure that it's running like clockwork, but not so much so that you step on the toes of a match prior or after the segment that you want so bad. Sometimes let certain things happen organically, you know?
When it comes to the crowd, because after 5 hours, they're spent. They can't cheer anymore. You know, they got to pee, they're ready to go home, folks got to go to work and school, all that stuff. But you need to treat your crowd like they are a bunch of toddlers. Not because, you know, they're stupid, but because when you're dealing with a toddler, you have a finite amount of time to get stuff done before it's cranky nap time.
Yep. And when you're going to start at night, you've already lapsed into we about to get cranky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, for the Darks, they're happy because there's wrestling and there's AEW and they get to be there. Then Dynamite. Hey, a 4-hour pay-per-view. Nope. Okay, they can do that. That's cool. But the end of Dynamite and the beginning of Rampage,
And it doesn't help if you have things going on during Dynamite that are stupid. People punching the mat, folks suplexes on the tables that don't break. If you got a bunch of stupid shit going on, it's like, you know, I done been here 3 hours. And I'm really not giving a goddamn about this dumb shit.
Yep. So here's the question. How should you run your events? You know, you got that venue you got that night. How should you do it? Here's how you can do this. All right? Because you're going to do this and you got to use that one venue for the whole day. That's pretty much what they got it for. They're going to do this. Run your event. Run dark and elevation back to back. Do it in the early parts of the day. It's hard to start at 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock. Preferably 12 and 1. All right? And make sure it runs like clockwork. No crap. No waiting 30 and 40 minutes because of whatever may happen. And if you got to have a wait, you know what you do? You put on a match in between. Hey, you two, go out there. Give us 10 minutes. Or just wrestle until yada yada. Keep them entertained. They might go and get popcorn and use the bathroom during the match because they know it's most likely what some will call a throwaway match. It means nothing. Going on AEW, no match really means anything. But I was going to turn some of y'all off, but still.
Yeah.
And you get it done like that. You get that done. So you get your 2 hours in. And it's all good. Make sure it runs like clockwork. Maximum 2 hours and 30 minutes, just in case something goes awry, you need extra time. All right. So let's say it ends at 2. Let's say you start at 12 and ends at 2. All right. No problem. You know when the next one needs to happen? You know when Dynamite needs to happen? That needs to happen at, let's say 7 or 8. So let's say it starts at 7, you got 8, and you got 9, bam, done. All right. It's done. Rampage, you can get that done like maybe an hour after that. Hey, if y'all want to reserve your tickets, tell them ahead of time. You can reserve your tickets, yada, yada, and come right back in an hour.
You can make your tickets cheaper because you're going to be doing 3 different shows in one building.
Cheaper tickets actually do equal more money. You can spend $40 for the whole thing. Let's say $50. It's an hour, 10 minutes for an hour, okay? $50 for the whole thing. Or $15 to $20 a show. So dark and elevation together could easily be, you could throw in, you could just say $30 or $40. I would say 30. Because those, honestly, dark and elevation, better quality of wrestling on them. Honestly, so far that I've seen. It's got some stupid stuff here and there in terms of mistakes or people that don't know exactly what they're doing, but it's all good. It's better than what I see on their primary shows. And if you want $10 for dark and elevation each, $30 for Dynamite, $20 for Rampage.
That's good.
There's so many things. There's so many ways you could do this. And if you got that venue, make it a weekend thing.
Mm-hmm.
Friday start, Sunday end. But they're trying to compete and yada 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 with WWE. You know how you compete with WWE? You don't compete.
You do your own thing. You do it well. You do it better.
That's what you do.
What I would do is, if you're gonna get all that shit out of the venue in a matter of 4 or 5 hours, okay, you can give it a shot. All this stupid interview stuff, do all that stuff early in the day.
Yep.
You tape have no in-ring interviews. That shit ain't necessary. Have all your interviews and jumpings in the back, tape them earlier in the day, and then if you have a decent production crew, you can put them in when necessary so they can see you on the AEW-tron during the show. And then you can run the show like a school. The bell rings, class in 5 minutes. The bell rings, need to be in class. Have a match. Bell rings, class in 5 minutes. Bell rings, need to be in class. You have a match. That's how it should run.
Yep. Here's another solution. You want to run your company, okay? Legitimately chill. AEW has a massive roster. All right. Because I've got a massive roster, probably equal to AEW, to be honest with you, for CR Fire Pro. I probably got about 200 wrestlers, something thereof. But you know what AEW could do? Or if anyone out there is inspiring to do this, don't keep putting your main wrestlers on every show. You do Dark, you do this, and then you see Dark in Elevation, you see Punk, or Daniel Bryan Danielson. All right? And, people pop. That's the point. But then they come back out later for Dynamite, and they pop again. Not as strong, but it's a pop because it's on Dynamite. We're on Dynamite, and they're coming out, so they're a little excited. And then Rampage, they come back out again. It's a pop because a star is coming out, and that's where you fail to compete with WWE because you're trying to have stars. But with so many people on the roster, for the people that you're like, look, y'all are new, y'all are freshly trained, or y'all are up there, but you're not way up there, put them on Dark and Elevation. Elevate the Dark. And Dark is mainly for dark matches anyway. That's what it's mainly for. But still, put them up there. Elevate that show, because you get people talking about it. Dark ain't just a dark show or something just throw some people on. No, it becomes a show, not just some show. And so you can get in 1 hour, you can get, if you stop all the stupid and over competitive matches, you can get 6 matches in an hour. I know. So you can do that. You can get 6 matches on Dark, 6 matches on Elevation. That's 12 matches. No drama, no crap. They just wrestle. All right? It's in-ring training time. That's it. It's still if you ever hear a wrestler say, "I'm done with training," then you need to get them off your show. That's period. I don't care what level of talent they are. When someone says, I am no longer training, then you can say you're no longer wrestling for me. Mm-hmm. Because a true craftsman always practice.
I don't want to grow.
I just want things to stay the same.
I don't want to change.
Tagusuke Ryusuke. So, and then you've got Dynamite. All right. Dynamite. You want to do this right based on names? Since, Nitro, Dynamite. You know what Dynamite should be? It should be where your A-list talent can talk trash. But your B and C list, those that are above Dark and Dark Elevation, where they come out and they have matches and they can start little pieces of beef to help fill a pay-per-view. That's what you can do with them. All right. And, well, Rampage is where your A-list and B-list talent, that's when they can mix it up in some form or fashion and help push a storyline without tons of DQs and no DQs and all this to end a match or, help a match get over somehow because of rules. The fans don't know what rules are. They just, if you watch what happened with Adam Cole, the fans don't know about rules. They're just bloodthirsty zagnuts in my mind. The concerto about Christian. And what the crowd chant? One more time. They chanted for that. And Christian gave a quick look of, y'all are some nasty, deplorable pieces of shit. And so he didn't do it. But he didn't scoff at the crowd, but you could see it for a second, like, the fuck is wrong with you? And I've seen that at an SCW show when the crowd was doing that, and the dude said, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? He had a wrestler, a heel, had to ask that. A really good heel had to ask that question. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? And even though that's some massive time ago, and that company's been defunct, but still, you gotta wonder. And so, if you're an indie promoter, when they say that one more time, you know what you do? You do it because you ain't bright.
Yeah, you're not bright. And see, one more time is fine if you're doing
Certain-
a move, not beating someone with a light tube.
A body slam. One more time. Bam. Come on, one more time. Give it to us. Bam, another body slam because you kind of practice that shit over and over. And then you give it to them and they're like, yay! And that's what you do. And then you can do what some people have done. I've seen it. It was on Nitro. I can't remember who was doing it. But it was a suplex and the crowd kept chanting one more time. And so he did it. I think after the fourth one, the crowd stopped asking for it. Mm-hmm. But he kept doing it. And they stopped asking for it. And then he kept doing it. I think he suplexed that fucker 8 times. And then he got up and was like, how you like it, everybody? And nobody responded because he put it in their face, y'all are stupid. and the jobber on the mat was looking like, this is some bullshit. That was an absolute, if I could have taken a picture of that and saved it, that was the perfect expression of this is some bullshit. Like, fire me now, please. So there's so many ways to run a company, but doing it where the crowd has to sit for 5, maybe 6 hours, that ain't it. The duration of your show and the duration between your matches and segments are important.
Very important. If you got a low quality show, you can't have them there forever.
No, you can't. You can't. Put on your 3 to 7 minute matches. No BS in between unless it means something. And remember the plot. Remember why. Don't make it convoluted. Don't make too many people into any one thing. Because if you got faction versus faction, you got to make sure that it's faction versus faction and not individuals in that faction against individuals in another faction with their own issues.
And if you're going to have them sitting there for a while, you better work hard to keep them entertained. Free food or t-shirts, something. You got something. There got to be some sort of compensation.
WCW would do that. On a Nitro, when it was going to be a commercial segment, person came out with the t-shirt cannon. Mm-hmm. And the crowd was all loving it, so they got free t-shirts. And they got t-shirts that you couldn't get. You couldn't buy them. There was shirts that, it was like a Sting shirt. It was all white. It was cool looking. Sting was wearing some kind of gold or something. When they shot it and the dude held it up, I was like, that's a gold Sting. I was like, damn. I figured we up in the cheap seats. Just some bullshit. I would have knocked that motherfucker out to get that shirt. Poof, there you go. Caught it. And I'll be like, nobody saw that punch, and I just walk off. Okay, it wouldn't go like that. I would get seen. But that person would still get hit probably. I don't know. They say over a shirt? No, over a shirt you won't get anywhere else. That's what it's over. If you didn't want to get hit, you shouldn't have been in that spot.
Shouldn't have been in that spot.
That's the way it go. Alright? Learn to stay somewhere away from me. I'm kidding. Right. You'll never know. But yeah, event durations. Not a hard thing, as we went over. And hey, if you disagree with something and you want to point something out to us or add something to the conversation, put that in the comment section.
Let us know.
Yes. It's more than all good. It's welcome and it's encouraged.
If you're like, hey, I like my time wasted, let us hear it.
Yes. If you don't care about all the crap between the segments of these shows, hey, I ain't got nothing against you. I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're silly. Because some people want to relax and chill between stuff. Can't stay hyping and all that the whole time. So it's all good. Do you, boo? You ain't harming nobody. I support it. All right? And hey, you want to insult me or pick on somebody else or someone else? You can. Just don't be a racist. Don't lie. Don't BS. That's it.
Oh, he's far more generous. Don't come in the comment section picking on folks for no reason. Ain't nobody done nothing.
If you want to, I'm gonna tell you what I did a long time ago. And it's up here, you can find it, but I did a promo because it's Baby Wack. He did a promo, he was trying to promo me. And I'm like, what? It was going to be for Fire Pro, and I tried to promote him, mine's kind of fell flat because I was kind of like nervous and laughing my ass off at the same time. And so I had to come out of that and then cut a promo when I forgot anything that I wanted to talk about.
Oh.
And I just forced myself to talk, not knowing exactly what I was going to say. So, yeah, that happened. So yeah, it's all about what's going to be there. So I don't really have a thing about people's promos, but I know a good one and a bad one. And since I did a bad one, I can talk about what a bad one is. Any case, I think that's going to do it for us, right?
Yep.
So this has been Cedric and Cedric for CRS and Commentary. Our thoughts on wrestling event durations. Everyone out there, please, the pandemic isn't over. There are people still dying out there. So please, glove up, mask up, wash up. Keep everybody and yourself safe. All right? Do that. So with that said, good night and see you next time.